Well, we've got Ruben Amorim in as our manager, and I just thought I'd take this time to give my thoughts on this whole situation. And my thoughts are very straightforward, to be perfectly honest. Everyone's going on about Ruben Amorim being the next big thing, the next great manager. He's smashing it with Sporting, and he's just one big move away from being one of the next elite managers, and that Man City were after him, and Liverpool were after him, and so on and so forth. I can't help but think that we've been here before. It was only 3 years ago that Erik ten Hag was the next big thing. He was smashing it in one of the lower leagues with Ajax. He was playing entertaining football. He was being revolutionary. He was going to be the next Pep Guardiola. He was an assistant at Bayern Munich. He was this, he was that. And then Man United came in, and he was going to be the man to transform everything, and he was the next big thing. And that first season with Ten Hag was actually not too bad. We had the new manager bounce, so everyone was motivated because, you know, the old manager had gone and the new manager had come in and they wanted to impress the new manager. And then, slowly but surely, the same players started to get worse and worse and worse, and then eventually the wheels started coming off, and then eventually Erik ten Hag gets sacked. So I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing doesn't happen with Ruben Amorim. I could be saying the same thing that I'm saying right now in 3 years' time. We'll probably have a good season in the end, all things considered. And what a good season will be, maybe finishing 4th or 5th. And then next season will be our year, and he'll sign about 3 players from Sporting. They've already said they're going to buy the Swedish striker that they've got to play up front. And then next season will be our year, and then the wheels will come off, and then we'll be talking about getting Zidane in, or Ancelotti, or whoever, or the next great up-and-coming manager. So that's the cynical part of me at this particular point. That being said, 2 things in my mind are saying to me, well, yes, you do have a point, Dominic. That's the big D's name, Dominic. That's what D stands for, despite what you dirty-minded people might think. Those 2 things are, well, one, okay. Now that we've got Ineos in charge of thinking long-term, they seem to be building a squad that can be utilised by head coaches. We're not hiring managers now, we're hiring head coaches. So the coaches can be interchangeable, so we could go through a rotation of coaches every 3 years perhaps, and I think that seems to be the way forward for most teams now, unless you're Man City, you just happen to have the best head coach in the world in well, arguably anyway. I could argue Ancelotti is just as good as Pep Guardiola. That being said, that's something for another time. But that seems to be what Ineos are trying to do long term. They are taking charge, especially with the director of football, of thinking long term, building a squad, a young squad, that can recycle managers every now and then to freshen things up, so on and so forth. Recycle head coaches, that is. So, with this new head coach that we're getting in, Ruben Amorim, he's playing a 3-4-3 formation, and we do actually have a squad that can play that. It would be well suited to that. The only downside that I can see at the moment tactically is that we don't have a left back at the moment, because Luke Shaw's long-term injured, and so is Malacia. I mean, there's talk of us getting Alphonse Davies from Bayern Munich, which would slot right in there, and the rest of the squad can play that system beautifully. De Ligt, we can have De Ligt, we can have Yoro and Martinez as the back 3. and then two wing backs in, say, Dalit and Mazraoui, and when Shaw's fit, stick him in there as well. Two central midfielders, Kobe Mainoo, perfectly suited to that system, and Ugarte, who Ruben Amorim actually coached at Sporting and then sold him for a profit to PSG, and now we've got him as well. So he knows exactly how to play that system that Amorim likes to play. And then three up front. Now, what this reminds me of is how Antonio Conte used to play at Chelsea. He played 3-4-3. Now, what the 3 and the 4 did was it made the back, the back line absolutely solid. The wing backs could defend, but they could also hit on the counter attack as well. So there was a nice transition there. But then the 3 forward players basically have a free role to just go and score goals. And I think that would suit Bruno, Rashford and Højlund. Garnacho as well. Xerxes still needs a little bit of development, but I'm sure he could sort of learn to play in the deep lying forward position, which I think is his more natural position. So tactically speaking, we have a squad that will be perfect for that particular system. So secondly, I like the squad that we've got. This is not a weak squad that Erik Ten Hag took over. Erik Ten Hag actually took over quite a weak squad, to be fair. But what we've got now, there's a very good, solid foundation there of players. We do have a good side. The trick is now to get them playing together in a system and getting them scoring goals. Now, Amorim's team seem to be very attack-minded sides. They scored a lot of goals in Portugal, so I'm quite interested to see how he does over the course of this particular season. And then, see what happens after that. But yeah, it's a shame it didn't work out for Ten Hag, but I'm going to the match against Chelsea at the weekend, and no doubt I'll report back on here. I'm going to the Leicester match a week later as well. So we've just battered them at Old Trafford in the League Cup with a strong side. So hopefully it'll be more of the same. But yeah, my thinking is the cynical side says we've been here before, but the more positive side is the players suit his system, and plus he seems to be a little bit more passionate. And I'm getting the sense that Erik Ten Hag was a little bit like Van Gaal in that he maybe overcoached his players, and also he maybe didn't necessarily know how to handle the more creative flair players, the goal-scoring players, because Van Gaal found it very difficult to motivate Di Maria and Falcao and a couple of others, and I'm just getting the sense that that's what's happened with Ten Hag as well, with, say, Ronaldo. He's clashed with Garnacho, obviously Jadon Sancho, and Rashford has been crap for a while now. So yeah, so those are my thoughts anyway. So maybe Ruben Amorim can bring a little bit more passion and more of a personality to Manchester United, and that's what Manchester United are. We're a club with personality. So hopefully that comes across to the players, and hopefully that comes across to the fans, and hopefully we start scoring goals and getting results. Anyway, what do you guys think? Please let me know. Is Amorim, is he going to be good? Is he going to be crap? Is he going to be more of the same? Are we going to be having this same sort of interaction in 18 months, 2 years' time? But you tell me. Thoughts in the comments, please. Thoughts in the comments.